So Jeff, how did we meet again?
Oh, well, you know, I feel like I tell people this all the time. I was on a chopper. I was on a chopper coming back from Portugal. It was like a special op, and she was on board. She was like recently rescued, and then so the helicopter breaks down, and then she's like hanging off the bottom of that thing. You know, like her body's like outside. I'm like, well, I gotta save her. So then I hop out, and then I'm hanging on the helicopter, you know, thing next to her. And I'm like, what's your name? And then, you know.
That's not what I remember.
Oh.
I remember you were standing on the subway platform. It was really crowded, rush hour.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And we bumped into each other, and out of our wallets both fell a picture of our cats.
Oh my God, that's right. And then we bent down, and like our heads like kind of just like pressed. Yeah.
Okay, well, how about we tell them actually how we met?
Okay.
We met online. We met on Hinge.
Yes, Hinge.
Cheers to Hinge.
Cheers to Hinge.
And tonight is our 3-year anniversary.
Yeah, we met exactly 3 years ago tonight, and have just been together ever since.
So in honor of our 3-year anniversary, I thought it would be fun to do a little video where we get to share our story, because I know people have been curious in the comments, like not only who you are, but how we met, and just our history.
Yeah.
So I did float the idea of doing kind of this like sit down about our relationship on my Patreon, and I got some starter questions that we could take a look at.
Sure.
It was a cold February night, 2022.
We had been talking for like maybe a week, and I feel like we were getting along, but I hadn't asked to get together. And then I was a little bit nervous, but then it was a Saturday night, and I was like, wait a minute, we're both writing each other on a Saturday night. We have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just meet in an hour.
Yeah, it was really spontaneous,
yeah.
and kind of fun, because I didn't have plans that night.
She was making a puzzle.
I had just bought a puzzle earlier that day, and I was excited. You know, winter in pandemic times, like staying in with a puzzle was great.
Yeah.
That was a great night. And then you texted, I'm like, why the hell not? Like, so I got ready and met you for a drink. And yeah, I remember we were still full masked, so we couldn't really see each other when we first met outside.
It was eyes first.
Eyes first.
Yeah, she had this really cute winter hat with a big white poof.
Big poof.
On it, and scarf mask.
Mask.
It was so
That's all you could see with my eyes, and all I could see was your eyes. Yeah.
She has very pretty eyes, so it's,
let's go into a little more detail, just like meeting someone online on an app.
Sure.
Which is very common these days. Maybe just the year before I met you was my first kind of foray into online dating. I'd never really done it before. And in New York City, it's just very interesting because it's such a big place. Yeah, it was just, it's interesting to find out like what people do that's so different from you. Oh, you're an FBI agent. I am just making things up. It's interesting to get to know people, and it was a interesting, fun time. Sorry. But I think I didn't realize how much I wasn't like really feeling anything, because to kind of date around and get to know people, it requires this like being invested but not too invested. And I got really good at just like putting on this act of this like having a fun time, having a cocktail, like getting to know you, and it was all very lovely. Like it's good to develop those conversation skills, but I would say deep down I felt like I wasn't feeling anything after a while.
No, also, I mean, you do have a sort of thing that develops, I think, if you're going on a lot of first dates, where you also start to have a couple of go-to kind of paragraphs in your mind for how to properly describe yourself, or where you came from, or this is my favorite story about how I got attacked by a pelican when I was 5, which is a good story.
It's
but
a true story.
Our date, among so many other things, was also that I saw you and we sat down and we were immediately just like people again.
It wasn't like date mode. It wasn't like date cat. I was myself. The best way I could describe it was like I had been talking underwater to other people for so long, and it's like that muffled, you can kind of make things out and you're getting by, and then when I met you, it was like coming up for air. It was like I just felt like I could be heard, and I was hearing you, and like I almost couldn't like talk enough. Like we were just like,
we had a lot to say.
It was just like taking a breath for the first time. I didn't even realize what was lacking until I had met you. I really thought that's dating, I guess, and that's human connection, and you can kind of, you know, when it's been a minute since you've connected with someone in that way, you can kind of forget like that feeling.
It's funny just because we know each other so well now
I'm trying to think
that I'm like, well, yeah.
What was surprising?
What came as a surprise?
Oh, okay. Well, if this is not too much information, the kid thing.
Oh, okay.
We had a conversation pretty early on about not having kids. It was something I always kind of knew that I didn't want, but I was too afraid to like say it out loud or put it on the app because that's like an option.
Oh,
you could say like want kids, don't want kids, have kids. I don't know, open. And I just didn't answer that question, so it wasn't on there. You know, dating in your late 30s is very different. You're dating people in their 40s. Like, people are very serious about having children, and I didn't want to waste anyone else's time. I think I had this fear of putting it on there because it forced, like, me to put it in writing or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, I think I had this weird fear that, like, maybe no one would want to date me seriously. And that's very untrue, but I was just like, oh, I want like a meaningful relationship with someone. But I guess I just thought, oh, if I don't want to have kids, like they're not even gonna think about that. And completely untrue, because I finally put it on my profile and we matched.
Yeah.
And we found out over brunch one day that you were looking particularly for people who put that as well.
Yeah. It was also a surprise to me that you, I guess, were worried about putting it out there.
It's just something I was like, I'm so glad I was honest about that. And just because it's going to come out sooner or later. And it was just good to have it out there and find someone who wants the same things. You wanted a relationship.
Yeah.
And we connected on that as well.
Yeah. So.
And I should say, on both of our profiles, I'm pretty sure we both had pictures of us with our cats, like as the first photo. So
that's definitely how I reached out to you, I think, was when we matched. Yeah, it was a comment about Mochi.
He was like, oh, cute cat or something like that. Not to put you on the spot, but were you surprised to learn anything about me?
Yeah, I think maybe something that played out in a way is like sort of little surprises more throughout the beginning of us getting to know each other. You know, you'd been in New York for a couple of years, but the majority of it was during pandemic times. And there was a lot about just the city and living here that was still somewhat new. You know, I've grew up right outside the city and I've lived in New York my whole life, and it's been really nice to rediscover bits of the city, and just to find, you know, just little things or places or neighborhoods that I might take for granted that are new to you, and that can be like, oh, this is great. I get to experience it all over again, and you know, and kind of also cut through what can be, you know, some jadedness that happens when you're used to a place and stuff like that. So
it's nice for me to have met someone who established roots here. I can't express like how lonely I was and isolated in the pandemic, and just like you just welcomed me into all your family and your lovely friends that I've gotten to know. And
you've got some great friends too.
And I've made some friends too, and you've met them. But I love Jeff's family. They live in Long Island, and they are so fun, so sweet, and we see them quite often, which I love.
We're a very tight family, very traditional for like immigrant parents kind of thing, where we're just very, very sort of tight-knit, and we all see each other a lot, which is very,
it's so nice. You know, my family is across the country, and I don't see them nearly as much as I would like, and it's just nice to have people to spend the holidays with and have, you know, Sunday dinner with, and they check up on me. It's really sweet.
Cat's favorite?
Campari.
Fresh juiced pineapple, aged rum, and Jamaican rum.
Oh my goodness. Thought, you know, a fresh drink could call for a little light show. The new sconces.
Yeah.
This is slow. This is what I change as slow. And we had red for Valentine's Day. All right, we only have a couple more to go.
I feel like coming up with the things we have in common is easy.
Very. Both have cats.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely going to be the first thing.
We have a similar taste in movies. We both tend to kind of come out of the theater being like, yeah, agreed.
Yeah, very rarely are we on different sides of a movie conversation. I would almost also go as far as to say we both really like older things in general.
Yeah, we love flea market or
yeah.
Just look at this old
Well, I mean,
box. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I
look at this old box.
I spent an obscene amount of money, not an obscene, but a chunk of money on a vintage TV that works. And you were like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is a requirement. I would say something we don't have in common is like, you're much more of a meat eater than I am.
I was gonna bring up a food thing as well.
Okay. I eat some meat, I eat some chicken and fish, and I love eating tofu, and I like vegetarian food most of the time. You're more like red meat and...
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like, completely carnivorous. It runs in my family a little bit. It's also just a bit, yeah, like just growing up. My family's from Romania, Transylvania and stuff, and it's all very meat.
More a part of the culture.
Yeah, like when we get together at family dinners, like I grill for, meat for the family.
Yeah, you've introduced me a lot of good things. Like you'll cook for us, and I've gotten to like try new things and expand my palate a bit more.
There's a big breakthrough on the way. Kat has announced that she is going to be trying sushi soon, which I think is a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Whenever we've gotten sushi, it's like an avocado roll for me, and I don't want to eat the raw fish, but I think it's time. I think it's time to try it, because this was like going back to high school and trying sushi and not liking it.
Yeah.
Maybe things have changed. Loaded question.
Yes, the biggest question.
So I have Mochi, a girl cat.
I have Nabby, a boy cat.
They have not met.
They haven't met, and yeah, there's a lot tied up in this.
There's a lot at stake.
There's a lot at stake. Nabby has never really been around other cats since he came home with me. He's never encountered another cat. And then Mochi did have a little bit of a history in her living in a cat cafe days of attacking boy cats.
I think it was kind of like mentioned as an aside. I was like, okay. And
like, what are the chances that's going to be a problem?
Yeah. The day I went to pick her up, there was a kerfuffle where I hear this like, and there's this like little cat running and Mochi's chasing him. She is the sweetest cat. I think it comes from a fearful place, and with me, she's just really blossomed. Like, she loves people. She's like so comfortable here. I am slightly worried, but I don't want to be too worried. Like, it might all be fine. We do like FaceTime with each other, and sometimes we'll put the cats.
Yeah, we try to get them to FaceTime.
Like, you guys have met, you don't even know it.
Yeah.
they don't seem to catch on. Yeah, no, that's a big question, because 3 years together, we haven't lived together. At the same time, it's like I just re-signed for another year here on my lease, and it just, these years go by so fast, and they kind of snuck up on us. I was like, oh my god, it's that time already, and we were in no shape to move or look for new apartments.
There's just too much
just busy for us
going on in both of our lives. Yeah.
And I love this place. I just put up sconces. Like, I love it so much. And we've talked about it. You have a really good deal on your place.
Yeah.
But it's too small for both of us. My place, the rent is going up every year, and it's not ideal for two people. There's no like bedroom door to close. It is a loft studio. We are definitely planning to.
Yes.
But we just need to like plan ahead, I think, like like a couple months before.
Yeah. It's gonna take.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, it'll take a little planning. But what's nice is that we had like a 6 or 7 month period where we did live together.
We did. That was maybe a year into our relationship. It was just a very competitive rental market. I remember any place in the city that was decent and at a decent price had a line around the block of people going in for a viewing. We just decided I should put my stuff in storage.
Yep.
And live with you for a while.
And it was great. And I mean, if anything, that makes us, I feel like we talk about how much we want to live together again, this part of it, like
spaces.
Yeah, it's the cats.
Yeah. It was and I will say
our stuff. Yeah,
all my stuff was in storage.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it was your apartment, all your stuff. I didn't have any of my things. Like, I had a couple suitcases.
Right. It wasn't your space.
Mochi was staying with a friend, and so we knew it wasn't permanent.
Yeah.
And but we got along great, and we really loved living together. And it was a weird adjustment living apart again after that.
Yeah.
Like, I always knew I needed to. I was paying $500 a month to have my stuff in storage. Like, I was just getting pissed about that. I just know, I know we're so solid, and I know we will live together one day. And I know that will be the last person I live with. And that makes me feel like we can take our time. Yeah. Because I'm not worried about it slipping away.
Yeah, no, me neither. I mean, the idea of doing this is sort of fortuitous because I feel like, I mean, we've talked about it. I think neither one of us are huge practitioners of like Valentine's Day in general.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it
I love
either,
a theme. I mean, you know, I was like, Jeff, we got to make pink drinks. I'm like,
yeah.
I do like an occasion.
Yeah, it's been really nice these last 3 years, and kind of cool that like when we met was like so close to Valentine's Day.
That reminds me, I took a screenshot of that text. Do you remember that?
I was gonna ask if you remember that and give a screenshot of it. Oh.
So like on Valentine's Day after we met, Jeff sent me this text.
I googled what is a non-crazy way to say Happy Valentine's Day when you've only known her for a week and you don't want to bother her at work. Plus, who knows? Maybe she hates Valentine's Day.
That's tricky. Meeting someone a week before Valentine's Day. You did a good job. Okay, we're signing off.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Maybe we should get some poses for the thumbnail.
Okay.
007.
You really want me to do a 007?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, because bro.
Maybe we do an up close and a little blurry.
I believe in miracles. Since you came along, you sexy thing.